The Great Britain captain has not lost on this ground all year. And he was itching to get the Australians back to what he called home territory straight after the match last week. And he looks determined as the fireworks burst overhead. Gary Connolly, one of the Wigan contingent. Paul Johnson. Others, of course, in this side with Wigan connections, like Mike Forshaw, like Barry McDermott, Andrew Farrell, David Hodgson. And Britain expects now that this third test actually goes Great Britain's way for once. A huge night for the players then of both nations. It's a point not lost on the Great Britain skipper Andrew Farrell.
Opportunity of our lives to win an Ashes series against Australia, and you know, we've got to
never get a better opportunity for many years, and they realised that. They knew that they were very poor indeed in that second test. They let the nation down, they let themselves down. They're fully aware of that. David Waite has just been positive all through the week, and I think we will see a different performance from Great Britain. And I think they have got to just ignore this fella, Bill Harrigan. They call him Hollywood down in Australia. I call him Bill Arrogant. But he will, and I'm sure, take control early. If it means giving away a few penalties for a little bit of rough stuff, so be it. We have to give it to the Australians. We must unsettle them.
Referee Bill Harrigan blows the whistle. The 2001 Ashes deciders underway. Huge roar from the crowd. And first tackle, and that's a good chase, and led by Fielden. And Britain dominating at the tackle. That's what they want from the very first whistle, and that's what we're getting.
Well, the Great Britain squad said that they hoped that the loyal crowd would be behind them, but the crowd realised they've got to have something to cheer for, and this is a good start. Can they keep it going?
Well, the last thing the Australians wanted, this is Jason Stevens, who of course was suspended from last week. The last thing that Britain want is for them to get the ball out wide early, and the kick downfield is on the bounce to Wellens, and Britain with first use of the football for the first time.
Not the best kick. They applied the pressure, something that they certainly failed to do at Bolton in that second test, but that's also good defence.
Badouris all over the top of Johnson. Forshaw gets the ball away to McDermott. McDermott spun and tried to offload in the tackle.
Australians very quick out of the blocks, extremely quick. They showed their defensive qualities as well as their attacking skills in that win last week.
This is Chris Joynt now, driving the ball in. Kennedy is in there, so too Badouris. It's the fifth and last for Great Britain this set of six. It's with Deacon. The kicking from him will be so important. That's a belter, and it's one for Price to chase. Blacklock is there, and Blacklock's in touch. Wonderful chase. Great work. And Chris Anderson with one or two problems. Blacklock buried, first touch.
David Waite knows all about this guy, and they know that he is a little bit suspect for the high kick, and also his defence is not of the highest quality. But what was of good quality was the kick from Paul Deacon. That is the reason why David Waite has drafted this guy in. Absolutely from nowhere. It looked as though he wasn't going to be involved in the test series at all, but he's brought him in to make sure that the key factor in the kicking game is superb.
Farrell was standing out of the scrum at standoff half. This is a wonderful opportunity for Britain. Scuffle puts it away to Deacon. The pass is out wide. It looked a little bit suspect, but O'Connor held on to it.
Suspect, it was forward. They got over it.
It's Deacon who gives it a bit of width now to Farrell. They've got men on the overlap. Connolly, wide it goes. There's a chance here. Britain in! Britain in! First try! And it's from Paul Johnson. What a start for Great Britain. Just what they wanted. Johnson with the try. Wonderful play from the British at the start of this match. And the perfect start for the British Lions. And Paul Johnson, who celebrates his 23rd birthday tomorrow.
Good move, they brought the attack. It all came from the wonderful kick from Deacon. It held high. Bryce got to him. Fielden, who was just absolutely running himself to a standstill early in the game. They combined with the little halfback. Watch out, Connolly. He utilised the second rower joint. He just sucked in the defence enough for Johnson to step back on the inside. Watch Joint come through. Look at the hesitation. Back on the inside. Nothing that McDougall could do about it. They've got the dream start they wanted.
Just as they got at Huddersfield 2 weeks ago. And Paul Johnson, an early birthday present for that young man, and Paul Deacon with the kick that caused mayhem in the Australian defence for Nathan Blacklock. Now then, Andrew Farrell, the captain, 10 points wanted for 100 in tests. Boy, would he love to kick his 40th test goal here on home turf. He knows every inch of this ground. And Farrell has hit the outside of the post. 4-0.
Look how he utilises the dummy runner, and it just makes the Kangaroo defence hesitate. You see, McDougall was caught in no man's land. He was not in a good position to bring about the tackle. He knew it did Johnson. Soon as he went to the backward phase, Johnson was stepping. It was always going to be a four-pointer.
Great drive from Barry McDermott. He offloads as well. A little bit risky, but he got away with it. Joint was first to react.
To be fair, Great Britain have to watch for that. He was in superb form in the first test. Some beautiful offloads, just like that. You've got to take your opportunities.
Deacon dummy half misses out one and finds Sculthorpe. And Sculthorpe gets the ball inside to Fielden. And Fielden over the top of Ben Kennedy. Halted by Stevens. Penalty!
Well, to be fair, Kennedy looking at the referee, Bill Harrigan, because you'll see Fielden, he really does not regain his feet. That's not in the laws of the game. He really has to regain it before placing the ball down. Okay, this man was all over him. Well, the doubts that Great Britain had about the fact that it was going to be an Australian referee, Bill Harrigan, as I mentioned before the kick-off, it would be a positive thing for Great Britain to just ignore the man with the whistle, get on with the job in hand.
Oh,
a big hit!
A huge hit from O'Connor, and Barrett is flat out. He's on his feet now, getting back into the defensive line. This is Deacon. Stevens and Robbie Kearns bury the little man. Forshaw at dummy half. It's the dream start that Britain wanted. Senior almost through.
They're getting on with the game very quickly. They're playing the ball at superb speed. They're catching the Australian defence. They've made more advance in, 6 minutes than they did in the entire game until the last 15 minutes at Bolton.
Paul Sculthorpe. Penalty, Great Britain. Offside. David Waite just looking calmly, and they're going to take a shot at goal, inevitably, at this level.
Well, they've got to from such a wonderful position.
Well, Jason Stevens, the man who's picked out here, and Bill Harrigan pointing there, and they're all offside in front of him, but Jason Stevens, Great Britain, were a little bit upset that he didn't play last week.
Yeah, well, that's no excuse, Eddie. He deserved to get his one-match suspension.
Absolutely.
A lot of people thought perhaps he shouldn't be in the series, the second and third. But Andy Farrell will not rush this one, that is for sure.
That's a big kick, this, for Farrell.
And they're getting on with the job in hand.
Missed, just hit the post with the first kick. This a penalty. 6-0 Great Britain. Just what the doctor ordered.
First test, dream start for the British boys. Second test, Australia got off to that flying start. Chris Anderson knew that.
No need for them to panic, though, the Australians. No need whatsoever. 6-0 nothing.
Plenty of time, don't worry. They'll be not overconfident either, will the British boys. And David Waite will get the message down to him. But you can see that there's far more aggression already.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could see it etched on the faces of the British boys as they came out. They knew it was going to be a contest.
And here now is Paul Wellens, starting Great Britain International against the Australians for the first time. It's with Sculthorpe, who added the Rugby League Writers' Award to his Man of Steel and Players Player of the Year award, but oh dear, that one was out on the full.
Not the
he
best.
Went for the 40-20.
Got himself in the right position, sliced away on the outside of the boot. And this is the first real opportunity for the green and gold.
It is, and they are 30 metres away. Barrett gets the ball away here, and Senior just held off for a moment as Gidley took him on, but fortunately, there it was. Barrett now to Fittler, back it goes to Kearns. This is the first real test of this Great Britain defence.
Well, it's obvious that Andrew Johns and Fittler will control things at the first and second part of the run. Oh, that's great defence.
Good defence, indeed. And Paul Johnson has started like a house on fire. So has Senior.
Not happy Chris Anderson. Realised that the opportunity to be in a good position, really should have opted for the kick to apply the pressure. Squeeze the ball there. Matthew Gidley, one of the best in the world for offloading and supplying a late pass to his winger, but the cover defence was quite outstanding.
Well, the first borders repelled. First bit of danger for Great Britain defensively. Now then Sculthorpe trying to work the ball out again. Good tackle low down though by Barrett, helped out by Brad Fittler. Deacon is operating at dummy half a lot. And it's Great Britain's turn, who are in the opposition territory this week compared to this time 7 days ago. Fielden will get to his feet eventually.
Well, it's a ploy that I thought that they'd share that role from Forshaw. Forshaw not the quickest guy from the dummy half. And it was obvious that David Waite brought Deacon back in, not just for the kicking also, but the fact that he'd be a little bit quicker in and around the play-the-ball area.
Here's a danger man, Darren Lockyer, but that's a good chase. Great chase led by Sculthorpe, helped out by Fielden.
A little bit late there, Fielden, but I must say, Fielden is working overtime in defence.
And the referee, Bill Harrigan, just telling Stuart Fielden to keep his hand off the ball. But they're having a go at the referee, and they're having a go at Australia, and that's good. Kennedy.
Well, it's amazing that Kennedy's out there playing with a broken bone in his hand, and that's locking horns. That's what we want. He's gone for him.
What's more, he's got them actually for offside. He's got Great Britain for offside.
Well, I said if it meant giving away a few penalties, that's fair enough.
10 metres. Mate, you finish there. You're only
There's quite a few there. It was a delayed pass, but okay, they gave away an opportunity, and obviously the Aussies will take the two. They'll want to just slow the momentum down.
Well, every decision that Bill Harrigan makes tonight against Great Britain will be questioned by the crowd and will be questioned by the Great Britain captain. He's very anxious, though, to keep the players the 10 metres apart to play the ball, and it was one of the areas he was critical of Bob Connolly in the first test.
Yeah, but to be fair, I thought he came under far too much criticism about the second test. I thought at times, he gave Great Britain a pretty good rub of the green.
That's a miss. That is a miss from Andrew Johns.
Well, the most important thing, it means that we will be dropping out underneath the sticks. We, of course, is Great Britain. So Australia will regain possession here, or should I say,
from the 20.
On the 20, should I say.
And he's telling them to stay behind the ball until it's kicked, which of course is one of the contentious decisions that Bill Harrigan made last week when he penalised them on halfway for being ahead of the kick-off. It is, of course, in the rule book.
Well, they've got to play as a unit in defence as well as attack, and they've got to be talking to each other. Got to have a quick look and see where Bill Harrigan is. If he takes him back 12 or 15, it doesn't matter. You've got to go back to him.
And that miss, by the way, from Andrew Johns with the goal kick was only the second miss in 10 in this series. Now then, here is Freddie Fittler. And Britain are watching him. They know the danger that he posed to them and caused them last week.
They're picking him out as well, but also the defensive line, they're coming in very quickly out wide.
Kearns does well, though, to offload. Here comes Andrew Johns now. twisting and turning, flicks the ball wide and over the top. And this is young Jamie Lyon, 19 years of age, winning his 4th cap for his country tonight. A prodigious talent for the future. Now Johns, good kick through, looking for Blacklock. Well played, Paul Wellens.
He would have had to go to the video referee, Bill Harrigan. I know he's often reluctant to do that, but I just got the feeling that Blacklock was just slightly in front of the kicker. Either way, they didn't get to it, but it was so close. It was beautiful play and a beautiful kick too. But great play by the fullback, it had to be.
And here comes Leon Price now for Gray. Oh, he spilled the ball.
That's the first mistake, and that's what hurts.
Dane Carlo swoops on it. Leon Price with the first big mistake of his night. Now can Great Britain hang on here? They're giving it some width now, the Australians. They've got the man on the overlap, which is McDougall, but this at the moment is Gidley. And that's good tackling, good harrying from the Great Britain defenders, turning the Australians on their back. Ben Kennedy will go down the short side. Senior's after him, dumps it back to Gidley. Over the top it goes to Stevens. Stevens to Robbie Cairns. He was missed then by Fielden. Back it goes to Badeiras, and Badeiras is enveloped by Sculthorpe.
Great tackle, ball and all, it had to be as well.
McDougall dummy half. Johns with a little dab through. Look here. Now then.
They'll go to the screen on this.
He will.
It's touch and goal, there's not much in it.
Was it dead in goal? Was it offside?
It was an absolutely beautifully weighted kick. Not even Bill Harrigan can make a decision on this. Once again, it's Johns providing the play. He's onside, no doubt about that. They'll see whether he's got it down, and I think he has. Is it going to be TRY? Beautiful combination. What a well-weighted kick from Andrew Johns. Absolutely superb. It looks so easy when we slow it down, but at normal speed, Bill Harrigan had to go for it. There it is, confirmation.
Darren Lockyer gets the try, his first of this series, his 15th of his international career, and the British crowd a little bit quiet, but it was all down to the Leon Price mistake.
And they've paid a big price, haven't they? And the name says it all. The price was paid, but this is sheer skill. He knew exactly what was coming up, did the fullback.
Andrew Johns then missed with his first, but he hasn't missed with his second. The scores are tied. It's 6-all. 15th try for Darren Lockyer, improved by Andrew Johns. And Lockyer did score in that match last week. My apologies, he did score last week. So it's his second try of this series. What a wonderful fullback he is. And after his performance last week at Bolton, he is the best in the world in that position. Now then, Great Britain, not a crisis, but with questions to be asked and answered.
And one of them was just asking that same question. Terry O'Connor, of course. No love lost between him and Jason Stevens. He was very high. He got a running caution there from Harrigan.
Well, the referee is stamping down on both the Australians and Great Britain.
But again, we see the Great Britain defence. They're coming in very, very quickly out wide. And that's what they've got to do. They've got to try and make sure that Australia go down the narrow passage down the middle. They've got so much skill and speed out wide.
And they've got quite a bit of skill here with this fellow Johns, who hands it on to Badeiras. That's a beautiful inside pass. Lockyer is on his way. He's got a ton of support either side.
Oh, forward, surely.
Blacklock in for the corner. Referee has pulled it back.
It was forward a mile as well.
Referee has pulled it back.
There. Well, that was superb play. The little inside pass was superb to the full-back. And Lockyer looked absolutely amazed, but I think when you see the replay...
Well, I'll just use one word to use two words. Momentum rule.
Yeah, I understand that. But it was good work from the hooker, Badeiras. But this is forward.
Well, that's a toss of the coin, and it came down heads for Great Britain, and he can't believe it either. The momentum rule, I think if you're absolutely fair and above board, it was not a forward pass, but it was, according to Bill Harrigan.
Well, it took a while. It was obviously, he went and had a little bit of a look at the touch judge.
I don't think he gave it, you know.
Yeah, I think he signalled.
Did he?
Yeah, it was, well, he had to because it was an eternity. They were putting the ball down by the time Harrigan got the whistle to the mouth.
Well, that's an escape, there's no doubt about that.
Yep, that's controversy.
And here come Great Britain again. They have made a couple of changes. Sinfield is on, he's wearing 14, though David Hodgson was named at 14. But there is Kevin Sinfield behind Terry O'Connor. And here now is Paul Sculthorpe with the kick, trying to get it in between Lockyer and McDougall, and that is what he does. And McDougall's got work to do. Johnson stands his ground, and with help from senior Adam McDougall is dropped to the ground. 18 minutes gone, 6 apiece in the deciding test match of the 2001 Guinness Series. Barrett gets the ball wide to Johns, further wide again.
Then again, Eddie, you
see quite clear away.
That the defensive line, they've worked hard. David Waite, the Great Britain coach, obviously realised that they had a deficiency there in that second test. They're allowing them far too much room. They're not doing that now. But can they keep it up for the full 80 minutes? That's always been a big problem when you take on the Australians. They always seem to, well, capitulate in the final quarter.
Johns, and that is right down the throat of Wellens. He used the foot to trap it. This was off balance slightly, so the British full-back comes forward. And Fittler with the tackle. Britain need to work it through this set of 6 just to steady the ship. They're on halfway here with Connolly.
It will be some concern for Chris Anderson. The kicking game from Australia, not at its best.
Sinfield. Here's Andy Farrell, British captain. Chris Joint, St Helens captain. Kennedy with the tackle. Now then, Sinfield gets it away to Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe up the middle. It's 5th and last for Great Britain. And it's with Farrell. And Farrell just drifts the ball over the top. Little dink. Johns is after it. Great ball back to Lockyer. Switches the direction of the attack immediately, and such confidence from Andrew Johns here.
Oh, wonderful sweeping play there from a little half-back Andrew Johns. It was well read. Oh, that's a beautiful ball. But again, the defence is pretty solid.
But once Australia start to give it some air and zip it across the line, there are problems. Riles has come on for Stevens. Badouris was the dummy half. Johns gives it to Kennedy. Bravery from Kennedy, playing on with a broken hand. Midway through the first half, 6 apiece. It's a contest. That's important. This is Carlaw on halfway for Australia.
Australia quite happy just to settle things down after the initial shock of going points behind, and then it just emphasises the fact that they're getting out of the blocks quickly. But that's great play.
Wellens is there to tidy up for Great Britain. Could have been penalised there, McDougall. Referee lets them get on with it, though. Here's Farrell.
Good play by the skipper there. Quick play of the ball. To be fair, it wasn't a bad effort by Trent Barrett. He was under a lot of pressure.
Peacock had a quiet match last week after his exploits with the opening try at Huddersfield. Here's Connolly, who has had a brilliant series, to be fair.
To be fair, they all did last week, Eddie.
Yes, they did.
And they knew they had to...
Some Steve-O, were a little more quiet than others, though.
OK. Oh, that was never on. Again, they've come up with a mistake. That's the second one.
O'Connor tried to get the ball away in almost impossible situation. Andrew Johns takes the first tackle.
You cannot try to squeeze the ball there. There were 3 men in attendance. Believe you me, this Australian side, their counter-punch is wicked.
Riles met by Fielden. Magnificent so far, Fielden. Badouris. Johns. Barrett up the middle. Peacock's after him, so too Sinfield. 4 tackles gone, 2 left. This set of 6. Fittler dummy half. Wide to Kearns, up the middle. That'll be the 5th and last. Now then, what have Australia got here? They're lining up both sides.
Will it be a one-pointer?
Which way will they attack? Johns is there. He's going to hoist the kick out wide. It's a test of this. And I think Johnson caught that ball in touch.
He did. He came from the field of play. If he'd have had his foot on the ground, it would have been the other way around. He knows he's made a mistake, but I tell you what, you haven't got much time to hold a board meeting.
No, you haven't, that's true.
Take a break, take a break.
He's one of the best in the business on the high ball, Adam McDougall, and he was applying the pressure.
Might have gone out in the full, but Johnson couldn't take the chance. So now then, huge test of this British defence coming up again, because the Aussies have head and feet at this scrum, 10 metres out.
You've got to go back to the fact that it was Price came up with a mistake. Australia got their first try. O'Connor has come up with one now.
Barrett!
Great tackle.
Wonderful tackle from Sculthorpe. Here's Fittler attacking the line. Fittler! And he's just dragged back by 3. Peacock was the last one to apply the pressure, and Sculthorpe was there again. Badiris. Connolly went for the interception. The ball was bounced kindly for the Aussies. It's going to be 6 to go.
That was a huge gamble there from Connolly. He's done it so often in the past.
He's not signalled the referee, Bill Harrigan.
Well, it was definitely touched by Connolly, surely.
This is Johns. Back it comes to Cairns. Last tackle, he didn't wipe them down. He didn't wipe the tackle count down. Badiris off the ground. Johns, short ball, great tackle.
Chris Joint leading the way yet again. That's going to be the turnover. Blacklock didn't realise it.
Well, I think he, like us, thought that Connolly got a fingertip to it, and the tackle count had been wiped down. It hadn't.
Well, that's a mistake, I feel, from Bill Harrigan. We've mentioned already that the British have had the rub of the green so far, and I still think it's continuing.
Riles all over the top. This is O'Connor battling on bravely, the Wigan boy, the Irish captain in the World Cup. Here's the English captain in last year's World Cup, tackled by Kennedy and Riles.
Tell you what, Robbie Cairns felt that. He was a bit sluggish getting back on the 10.
Sculthorpe's gone for another big one. It's out on the full again. Well, he's trying for 40-20s and not coming off.
Yeah, well over the whitewash, and he knows it as well. David Waite, fully aware. 2 mistakes, kicked directly into touch, puts him under pressure. 2 drop balls, puts him even under more pressure.
6-all though, 25 minutes gone thereabouts. Sean McRae, wonderful test match.
Oh, game of the series without doubt, Eddie. Fantastic game, great intensity. The pace of the game is outstanding. Both sides are really starting to breathe very deeply at the moment. Great Britain, great start, had the momentum early on. Australia came back. Interesting to note that both tries have come direct from turnovers in crucial positions. And that could well be the outcome of the game. Something like that could determine this outcome.
Australia examining the defence again with Johns. Lovely ball. And lovely defence from Great Britain. No way through for Fittler. Badiris off the ground quickly to Lockyer. That's a lovely ball. And that's going to be 6 to go.
It's got to be. He's certainly got that right.
No, 5 at last, he said.
Dearie me. Well, Bill Harrigan.
Crossfield kick from Johns looking for McDougall. McDougall flicks it back to Kennedy. Kennedy, inside it goes. Ball flicked up again.
That'll be the turnover.
It's gathered in by Brad Myers, and that's the turnover. Well, did they touch it again out there on the far side? Great Britain, that's the question.
I'm sure they got a fingertip to it.
No.
Well, he didn't play at it. Directly didn't the British skipper, Andy Farrell, but... well, that certainly would have been deemed as either a knock-on or at least go back to the 6. Well, if any of the British fans here have any complaints about Mr. Harrigan, they've got to feel a little bit sorry for the Australians because they're on the back foot.
You're joking.
Well, I'm telling you.
Nobody in this ground with a Britain jersey on and with British blood coursing through his veins will feel sorry for the Aussies. Deacon with the kick.
Poor one too.
Into the arms of Blacklock, who says he dedicates this test match to his late father. Died not too long ago, tragically, and Nathan Blacklock said that he was ready to give the game away at one stage, and his dad said to him, just keep on going and eventually the rewards will come. They've come tonight, and this test match is dedicated to his father.
Well, I'm glad he's got a good start as well. He's been the top try scorer for the last 3 seasons down under. Certainly deserves his opportunity.
Here they come. Barrett, oh, beautiful ball to Kennedy. Kennedy has got support with him, and the support has arrived from Gidley, and they're over despite the attention from Johnson. Gidley gets the try. There was a beautiful inside ball there, though, to Ben Kennedy, who's playing this match one-handed. And Gidley over, try number 9 internationally for Matthew Gidley, the Newcastle Knight.
Well, a quality here. Look at that pass from Trent Barrett. We've seen him throughout the season. Sky viewers, the NRL, we've been getting it each week. And this is absolutely superb from the standoff. See how he sucked in the British skipper. And Kennedy just kept his cool. Gidley, he knew he was going to get over the line. He had the pace. The inside pass has created havoc in the British defence at the moment.
That try fashioned in Newcastle in Australia. Kennedy and Gidley, 2 grand final winners, of course. And now here is Andrew Johns, another Newcastle Knight, to try and add the extras. The British waving their flags behind the sticks, trying to do their best to put him off. And, oh, in off the post for him. A big grin from Andrew Johns. 1 in and out for Australia, 1 in and off for Britain.
Well, you can see there, you've got to have a man-on-man marking. It wasn't. 2 of them, Farrell and Joint, went for Barrett, the standoff. Superb offload. That is quality. And well finished by this youngster, centre Matthew Gidley.
12-6. Important stage of the match for Britain, with just over 10 minutes to the half-time break. Got to stay in touch, and with tackling like that from Fielden and Anderson, they might. Here's Sivanasiva. Peacock after him, with Sculthorpe. Medeiros, here's Myers.
Pretty important now that Britain just try to close them down. You just get the feeling that the heads may just go down somewhat if Australia can snare another try before the half-time break.
Big booming kick, that.
That's the best from Australia so far, and the chase is great.
Little misty out there, just wonder whether it's starting to drizzle a bit.
It's pretty wet at the moment, Eddie. It's been raining the last 6 or 7 minutes.
Well, that won't do anything for the handling skills, but let's hope it's British rain. Farrell. This is foreshore.
It's a long way to come from Australia, Eddie.
It could come over on the wind, you never know. Sinfield to Sculthorpe. He's gone for another big one, but this is not the best. And Lockyer has got 30 metres to pick up pace and attack, and down goes Stuart Fielden. But luckily for Great Britain, the captain and Keith Senior were there, and the fullback takes the tackle. Johns to McDougall now. On halfway, McDougall just gets into British territory.
Well, you can see that the turf there is cut very, very low. It's a bit threadbare, and it's starting to cut up.
Jones gets it wide to Fittler. Fittler gets the ball away to Myers. And Peacock just managed to haul him down, but Fittler is starting to tick, as only Freddie Fittler can. Johns with a lovely little dink over the top. That's in touch. And Jamie Lyon claiming that it came off a British player.
He's claiming that it was obstructed. Neat little kick over the top. You'll see Price there. If you're both running for the ball in the same direction, it isn't within the rules you can use your shoulder. And that is exactly what Leon Price did. And the youngster not happy with the decision from the referee, but has got it right. Can't grab at him, of course, but you can utilise the shoulder, providing you're running in the same direction.
Well, the forwards running themselves to water.
Well, it's what they needed, and they certainly had taken it to the Australians.
Good ball to Anderson from Deacon. 8 minutes to half-time. Just 6 points the difference. What a change from 7 days ago. The match was over this time last week. It's very much alive and kicking at the moment.
Well, Great Britain have to utilise perhaps a little chip over the top. They've got to come up with something different.
Oh. And Farrell made the blunder, and that's a knock-on against Australia.
Knock on, the other one was off the head.
And they went backwards, so it'll be the Great Britain head and feed. Kennedy, not surprisingly, did go backwards, came off the back of Wellens.
Yes, it's Great Britain's head and feed here.
And that's a let-off. Kennedy was well and truly away, and of course it was Wellens that had linked through. So there was no one at home in the full-back position.
Deacon to Sculthorpe, and wide to Wellens. Done well, the St Helens full-back. So is the Bradford scrum half, and possession is swinging Australia's way gradually. Just the moment Britain, having started off like a house on fire, are just struggling to get across this defensive line.
Well, it didn't help with the fact that two of the kicks from Sculthorpe directly into touch, the two mistakes. You've got to try to be error-free if you're going to beat the Australians, that is for sure.
Fielden almost through. This is Sinfield. Here is Forshaw. Forshaw looking to offload and hangs on. Under huge pressure from Trent Barrett. Deacon, that's good play. Ooh, that was forward too. They've got away with it. Here's Price. Kick over the top. Deacon's after it, but Lockyer is there to tidy up for Australia. That's a great chase, though. Wonderful chase by Kevin Sinfield.
Well, they got away with the forward pass, not seen by the official Harrigan. And it was a good kick eventually from Liam Price. Now, it's important they've got to keep Australia camped down. Remember, Takiri went 60 metres from this particular position. The Australians are past masters of attacking from deep within their own quarter.
That's what they're trying to do here. Just 10 metres inside their own half, with Brad Myers, Sculthorpe and Deacon around him. That's the fifth and last. Good defence from Great Britain here. Expect the kick from Johns. There it is. And it bounced off Kevin Sinfield, took the sting out of it. So Johnson picks up and gets away from Andrew Johns. Can't get away though from Gidley.
You can see the players sliding about all over the place now.
Here's Wellens.
Will both camps be looking to the fact to change the length of the studs? Quite a few went out with short ones to start this game.
Another a break here from Peacock, and Peacock has got support on the outside. He's taking them on himself though, Peacock. Just hits the deck.
Beautiful inside pass as well. Sculthorpe the provider. Can they make it count? Deacon controlling things out there at the moment.
And he's in possession here again. He's given it to big Paul Anderson, who drives over the top of Ben Kennedy. It's the fifth and last. Sinfield, Sculthorpe attacking them. A stab through for Senior to chase. Desperation stuff from Darren Lockyer. Senior was closing in.
Good option. Well-weighted kick as well.
Senior thundered into the advertising hoardings, but he's hurt.
Oh, that was superb play, wasn't it? The offload. The big fellow was through and just slips at the vital moment. You can see Price coming in on the angle. And then we finally got the kick away. But this fella's been around long enough. He reads the game ever so well, doesn't he, Darren Lockyer? The obvious thing, rushing around with it. Looks like that Senior's picked up a bit of a knock as he slithered into the hoardings.
Deacon feeds O'Connor, and back come Britain again. The pace of this test match is unrelenting. Forshaw's pass was dubious to Anderson.
Well, Britain are utilising the right tactics. They're keeping it pretty tight. They're just trying to make sure that they go through the sets of six.
Senior offloads to Sinfield. Sinfield, it goes wide to Sculthorpe, further wide to Peacock. Here is Wellens.
Ready well, though, leading the way. Brad Fittler knew the ball was coming back on the inside, squared him up, bang. Connolly in the deck.
Gary Connolly, but here's Sculthorpe now. 4 tackles gone. Deacon, they come wide to Forshaw, back it goes to Deacon. There's Andy Farrell. Kennedy was waiting.
As always, he really has shadowed Andy Farrell today.
Deacon hoists the kick, it's a test of the block like this. The ball bounced back.
What a take. Everyone thought it was a knock-on, but I think Andrew Johns took that best takes I've seen in wet conditions. It was knocked back by Price, and he takes that. It came off Price, the referee got it right.
Yes, he wasn't offside, and it wasn't a knock-on.
He took it on the half volley. Everyone here thought it was.
David Waite was with you, but it came off Price.
Look at that. That is a wonderful take from Andrew Johns.
This is Sivanasiva now for Australia.
Well, we talk about the attacking skills so often, don't we, about Andy Johns, but he does his work in defence, and when he's called on to come up with something different, he certainly did then.
This is Johnson. He's away from Myers, but he couldn't get away from Blacklock. Sculthorpe at dummy hard. Here is Leon Price. Leon Price trying to open them up down the middle. David Waite making his way down to the dressing rooms as Connolly takes them on. Flicks the ball back to Price. They change direction to Deacon. And Deacon, lovely little run from Deacon. Offloads to Wellens. The Australians, though, funneling him up the middle, and the tackle completed by Bradley Myers.
Great work by the little half. Paul Deacon there is enjoying himself. Good switch back in the inside from Sculthorpe.
To O'Connor.
And the two half-backs, Eddie, really are starting to combine. Oh, he just couldn't offload there, Sculthorpe.
Badinas over the top of Sculthorpe. Last tackle here for Great Britain with Farrell. Another little tester out wide. Price is after this. Price is
Oh, he had it and then lost it. It'll be the knock-on. Fittler wasn't taking any chance at all to be accused of being offside. He had that in the bread basket, and I'm afraid the wheels fell off. That is a golden opportunity. Just absolutely missed. He's picked up a knock.
I think he's winded, Leon Price. Just lost it at the vital moment. Inside the last minute here at the JJB Stadium, this deciding test match of the 2001 Guinness Series, and going right the way down to the wire. 12-6, Australia in the lead. Important set of 6 here for Great Britain.
It would have been an absolute wonderful boost for them, but at least psychologically they can go in at half-time knowing that they're starting to find the holes in this Australian defence, and they realise that Australia do have a problem on their left wing. They're attacking Nathan Blacklock, and we saw on that occasion Price took the ball and then lost it. Missed opportunity.
Badinas up the middle. Halted by Kevin Sinfield, who's right in the middle of the ruck. Could have been penalised there. Now then, here is Dane Carlaw. Good tackling low down by the British captain Andy Farrell. Last tackle here for Australia. Johns with a dink over the top. Wellens has read it, has he? Oh! Wellens, my heart was in the mouth, and Wellens knew exactly what he was doing. There is the half-time siren. 12-6 Australia, magnificent first half. McDougall picked up off the deck. He'll get into the dressing room, and he will gain wind for the second half, as all these players will, in a terrific first half of Test match rugby. And this packed house at the JJB Stadium in Wigan has been royally entertained. The Australian dressing room there. The Great Britain dressing room there. They got first blood. Johnson's try in 3 minutes. Farrell with the penalty, 6-0. Then Lockyer and Gidley, improved by Johns both times, gives us the half-time scoreline of Great Britain 6, Australia 12. 11 straight Ashes triumphs since reclaiming the prize in 1973 for the Australians. But this is a Test match.
Thursday premiere. Deuce Bigalow needs a career change.
I clean fish tanks.
Something to impress the ladies.
I'm a gigolo. A jigga who?
Introducing the new Deuce. He's on the loose and gonna stir up your juice.
Hi, I'm Deuce Bigalow. Your man for this evening.
Thursday at 8 on Sky Movie Max. Deuce Bigalow, male gigolo. Yeah.
Oh dear, they've made a mess of that one.
Another big day for soccer fans tomorrow. It's an early start for Celtic against Rangers, 11:30. That's an extra match live on Sky Box Office for viewers in England, Wales, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. It's also live on BBC Scotland. For more information on that match, the number to call is 08705 800 888. At 1:30, this week's pay-per-view match from the Premiership is Liverpool against Sunderland. The number for that one, 08705 160 160. And coming up at 3 o'clock, a huge Super Sunday match, live Sky Sports 1, interactive Sky Sports Extra, Arsenal against Man United. The British flags are flying even though their team trailed by 12 points to 6 at the break. The biggest 40 minutes of these young men's lives coming up in front of the biggest crowd ever to assemble inside this JJB Stadium. Sellout, all seats sold, and they're watching a true test match, a real end to the battle for the Ashes 2001. And Britain must score first, second half.
Little doubt about that, Eddie, and let's hope that this capacity crowd will be able to say in years to come, I was there. But it's not going to be easy. I mentioned midway through that first half that so often in the past a false dawn has arrived for Great Britain, and in the last quarter Australia always seemed to have the ability, the fitness and the skills to just rip us apart late in the game. Let's hope that we can hang in for the 40 and get those 6 points back very quickly indeed.
Sivanasiva could have been penalised for a flop then, as Peacock was on the ground, but Mr. Harrigan thought other than that. In centre field, it's McDermott. Sinfield off the deck to Sculthorpe. He goes for another boomer downfield, this time though crossfield. And bouncing aimlessly really into the arms of McDougall. Deacon is there. Deacon's missed him. McDougall on a flat run. Sinfield gets to him, scraps him to the floor. Not great, the kicking from Sculthorpe tonight.
A little bit off form, but it was a good option to go across to McDougall. It was McDougall, as we saw in the shots in the Australian dressing room. He was having a lot of treatment. He limped off the first half, and it's all about applying that pressure. Can they force Australia to come up with those mistakes? Remember, it was the many mistakes that Australia coughed up that gave Britain the great opportunity when they won the first test. They've got to do it again.
Oh, what a ball from Jones to Barrett. Barrett has got Myers inside him, and it's a walk-in try for Myers. Just what Great Britain did not require. And David Waite knows that that was not in the script for this second half. Britain off to a flyer at the start of the game. Australia in the shape of Brad Myers, the Queenslander from the Brisbane Broncos, who gets first blood second half for the Aussies.
Superb offload there. And Barron did ever so well. The two halfbacks combining, Johns providing the pass. Look at this, sheer quality. Johns just held it, sucked in the defence, back on the inside, and Myers had a wonderful season down under. That is a great try.
Fabulous try for Brad Myers. The year started off so well for St Helens against Myers and Brisbane in January. And that is just a major setback to Britain's chances here at Wigan tonight. Andrew Johns, man of the match last week, attempting to improve matters. And he's kicked it. It's 18-6. Not the start that Britain wanted.
Well, it's a carbon copy of what happened in the first half. You can see Farrell had been sucked in 2-on-1. You can't afford to do it. You've got to get man-on-man marking. You've got to squeeze them down. They failed to do that. The combination between the halfbacks, Johns and Barrett, provided this young fella with a try. He will remember for a long, long time. A bitter blow for the British, but that was sheer quality.
18-6, not the start Britain wanted. Let's get news from both camps. Here's Bill.
No, exactly the opposite of David Waite's wishes for the start of this second half, that his side play for field position, try and pin the Aussies down in their own territory and force the mistake and come up with the error and then capitalise on it. And a look of disappointment on the face of the Great Britain coach there, because that is exactly what he didn't want to see. Australia getting an early initiative in this second half as Wellens is pinned back there by a great Australian chase, and that is exactly what the Aussies wanted, really get in the face of these Great Britons at the start of this second half, and they've done just that.
Wonderful kick, wonderful chase. Britain near their own line. Sculthorpe trying to drive them away from the danger zone. Now it's with Connolly. It goes wide to Farrell. Britain are running it here. Johnson.
Well spotted there by Barrett. He delayed that pass, did Farrell. And Barrett was not going to be sucked into it.
That's the last one. Have to be a good kick here from Deacon. Under pressure from Badeiros, he got the kick away. And he split Lockyer and Blacklock. And Lockyer, facing his own line, fumbled with it. The chase is a little sluggish. Here's Blacklock. Price doing well.
He's lost that. That'll be classified as a knock-on, but really
Price gets it forward. He scores. Now it's a decision for the referee and the touch judge.
he's going to give it.
He's going to give this. No, he isn't. He's going to let the video referee have the final say.
You're checking to see whether he rakes and strips the ball out.
How did the ball come free? That's the big question.
Well, Blacklock tried to offload this ball, I feel. It was still moving, so therefore Price had every right to keep it going. He tries to get it back, and then it comes off Lockyer.
And maybe Sculthorpe.
Well, this is the incident. Lockyer misses it, Sculthorpe knocks it forward. Well, I've got to go for a no try, I've got to go for a knock-on from Sculthorpe. But will it be the first knock-on? No. Well, why on earth Blacklock tried to offload is anybody's guess. And was it a knock-on from Lockyer? Well, it's a real schmozzle out there, the video referee.
Well, did Paul Sculthorpe intend? We were talking about intention earlier on. This is a big call from David Campbell. Did he intend here, Paul Sculthorpe, to flick this ball forward, to make a play for the ball?
Well, so often in the past you can see it comes off the forearm of, or the upper arm, should I say, of Lockyer. So I'm going to go for a head and feed. But well, it's going to be a difficult decision. Oh, go on, I'll go for TRY.
Well, don't put your house on it, Steve-O. David Campbell has had a look, and now the decision. And they get the scrum to the attack. That's a bitter blow.
Well, David Waite thought that perhaps if that was the case, how on earth could he have been there? But they've gone to the first knock-on. Yeah, they've deemed that Lockyer knocked on and then Sculthorpe knocked on. Therefore, he's somewhat bemused as David Waite. But to be fair, I think the video referee has got it right.
Right, chance for Great Britain to put some pressure on. They're going to get possession from this scrum. Deacon to Farrell. Here is Connolly, trying to burrow his way underneath Jamie Lyon.
There's a real ding-dong. And it is going on like you wouldn't want to believe. They're coming in like swarming ants. Some are trying to stop it, others are trying to get involved.
Well, I hope the referee and his touch judges took a good look at that.
Well, Sculthorpe is going absolutely bananas.
Lee Frears in there as a peacemaker, the water carrier.
Robbie Kearns was
Andy, take him away.
eyeball to eyeball.
Take him away.
It was after the scrum broke up.
It might have been Mr. O'Connor and Mr. Riles involved in all of this.
Brad.
Two men with 17 on their backs.
Brad.
Well, O'Connor's not locked into the scrum there.
He is
now he
now.
is.
And someone just has a little look, and while he's having a little look, someone has a push. Well, you can't see it there. Either way, someone got a headache. It'll be a penalty for Great Britain.
17.
I think they're both on the way to the bin, maybe.
17. Jason. 17, you Barry. Who's 17? 21.
Who's 17? Said Bill Harrigan to Terry O'Connor. He said, I'm 21.
Was it Barry Day?
Not talking about his age.
Barry.
And I think at 21 he'd... but it's not...
Just listen to him. That's me. Tell me. Okay, mate.
Well, I think Terry O'Connor feels that I think I've got away with it.
Just for the retaliating. Okay. That's it. He threw the first one. First punch.
The penalty.
First punch by Riles.
Well, we've got to take the tap. It's no good. Oh, he's going for the 2. I would have gone for the momentum.
Well, take 2 that's on offer, I suppose, at this stage. Plenty of time left.
I'll fix it. We'll fix it.
Well, I'm not so sure that they've come up with the best decision.
I think they got mistaken identity.
Yeah.
Apart
Either
from
way,
anything else, but
either way, Great Britain have got the chance for 2 points. But
yes.
I think I would have, especially after they've had a little bit of a fisticuffs there, just put a bit of seed of doubt into the Australians. I would have been tempted to push the opportunity, and go for the 6 rather than the 2.
Saw a few of the old masters on the screen in our build-up to this Test match, and a lot of the old masters say it ain't a Test match without a fight. Farrell's added 2 more points to Britain's total, though, as a result of all that. The gap is 10.
Well, you can have a fight without having a punch-up. Doesn't have to be handbags at 6 paces. It's
Bill Harrigan is pointing at Barry McDermott and telling Andy Farrell to tell him to calm it down. And McDermott's under pressure now. I don't know whether there was anything that he was involved in, frankly. Anyway, the gap is closed. And we're back to the Rugby League. Deacon. Here he comes, McDermott. Oh!
And McDermott just shook his head as though a wasp had just gone by him.
And Myers is down and asking for treatment.
This is going to get warm. This is it. That was a high shot. No doubt in my mind. And that's the reason why I would have gone for running with a football.
Well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens and develops here. It's with Deacon. Farrell! He's got Senior! Senior on the break! And great tackle there! What a tackle by McDougall!
Unbelievable how he read that play. It looked for all the world that the winger was coming back on the inside, but McDougall's got it. And it looks like Paul Johnson's picked up an injury!
Scuffle tries to squeeze it out.
And Blacklock did ever so well. Took the gamble. But wonderful play by Adam McDougall. Senior made the break, and it looked like Johnson was going to come back on the inside. But McDougall was not going to be foiled. Talk about experience saving the day.
Well, it certainly started something, that little altercation at the scrum. Britain are gritting their teeth, and the Australians now trying to work the ball away from their own line with Sivanasiva. That's the 5th and last. Well, it looked like Britain were in. Johns, it goes wide. Barrett with a big hoof downfield.
Oh, that's a great kick.
Super kick, because Paul Johnson is hurt, and Wellens had to funnel back and pick it up. And Barrett leading the way. Wellens is away from him, and he gives it to Price. And Price slams it in way past Tillman. Price has got Senior. Senior has got past McDougall. Senior's on his way. Senior, still Senior, takes the tackle. McDougall again.
He had the man, and McDougall has saved the day. Blind side is open.
This is
very
Joint.
shallow.
Joint up the middle.
Got to switch it to the left. And all at sea, Findler trying to slow things down.
Here's Sculthorpe. Now it's Peacock. Peacock still just short of the line. Connolly waiting at dummy half. Inside it comes to Price. Price looking to step his way to the line again.
He was the man that provided the pass. Good run from deep within his own quarter.
Farrell
overrun him there.
had to take the tackle from Johns. It's the last one. It's the last one. A little dab through. He's gone for the post. Connolly thinks he scored.
He certainly got a hand to it, but did he have full force and was it under control? He deliberately went for the post.
Harrigan has handed it on to the video referee.
Remember, this is a man who's never scored a try for Great Britain. He deliberately went for that in full look here, and he goes down for it. That is try time for mine. That is full control with the fingertips.
No, it's not in the deck.
I reckon he'll give it.
No, I think Lockyer's got there just in the nick of time.
Well, I'm not so sure. There, he's got his fingertips on it.
No, he's not grounded the ball, Steve. I'm as desperate for a British victory as you are, but no try.
What colour of underpants you got on?
No, they're not green and gold. There's no try there.
Well, I think he gets a fingertip to it.
So you're saying, Gary?
Well, I hate to argue on our last assignment of the year, but this will be no try.
You've got it right.
It grieves me to say it, but no try. So close. Well, they're inching closer and closer.
What a first try that would have been. So vital in the situation. Only 10 points between the two sides.
Two fantastic breaks from Leeds. Keith Senior set them up. Here's Barry McDermott again. Chris Joint. The Aussies on the rack here. Britain have to score. Senior again. Inside it comes to Deacon. Now to Terry O'Connor. 20 metres out, Great Britain. 3 tackles gone, 3 in the bag. Deacon comes wide to Sculthorpe. And he would drop the shoulder, a little dummy,
he lost that.
Fittler.
He lost it and got it back. Regather, did it hit the deck?
Sinfield to Farrell. Farrell! Andy Farrell!
Oh, he hung on to him, did Kennedy. That's got to be a penalty. The fullback was all over him.
A dab over the top. Diffused by McDougall.
Well, what a game Adam McDougall is having. He was injured. He limped off for the half-time break, and Farrell gets through. And it was Kennedy that came to the rescue. And it's McDougall that came through when they finally got the kick away.
Ben Kennedy just on, and what an important tackle that was on Andy Farrell. Well, they've been across the line twice, Great Britain, and denied each time. Joint with the tackle on Jason Riles. Badouris goes to the right with Barrett. And Farrell with a very important tackle. Here is Stevens again. He drives it in at Deacon. Every time Jason Stevens has had hold of the ball tonight, the Wigan public let him know what they think of him. It's now with Fittler wide to Lockyer. Good hands again to Blacklock. Great defence from Britain.
Coming right over the top. How much opportunity he's got. Plenty of speed as this guy.
It's the turnover because it was not played at by Jamie Peacock.
In here, Terry.
Peacock certainly going for the man. The opportunities for Nathan Blacklock. And again, problems for Price.
Yes, Leon Price hurt once more.
That's one.
Hodgson's on for the injured Paul Johnson. Now then, David Hodgson, cometh the hour and cometh the man. Wellens. Badouris and Kennedy with the tackle. This now is Hodgson. First touch. With the live wire. O'Connor up the middle. Forwards tonight have been magnificent. And he offloads. Sinfield, Farrell, wide to Senior.
Oh, he come back on the inside.
Hodgson came back on the other side.
When he should have stayed out, and Senior's look says it all. Well, what a second half the big fella from Leeds is having, Senior. That could have been a dream pass for Hodgson. And the substitute had just decided to come back on the inside. It's minute things like that make the difference between celebration or heartache.
This is Lockyer. Sculthorpe has him. Gets drilled into the ground by Sculthorpe and Farrell. Here's Fittler. Can Britain force the next score. Stevens.
Well, that's not the right option, Eddie. There's plenty of time left out there. They've got to just be patient. They can't really just try to force their hand. They've got to make sure that when there's a chance of an opportunity or a break, make sure that the pass is on. Don't panic. Australia won. You know, they've still got that commanding lead. Oh, and they have come up with a mistake. Oh, he said it's play on. Bounced off his shoulder.
Last tackle though. Last one. Crowd not happy. I called them a Wigan crowd before. It's in Wigan. It's a British crowd. High kick. Well claimed by Leon Price. Now then, he fancies taking on Blacklock.
He's got to stay in, and he does that. Well, to be fair, Bill Harrigan, okay. Rub of the Green went British way on several occasions in the first half. One went against them there, so maybe it's just going to level itself up. And there is what I was worried about.
Fielden with the mistake. Australia have it back with Gidley.
Well, when you're in the pressure cooker, you've got to be a pretty tough vegetable to go soft.
And the crowd screaming at the British to get hold of Adam McDougall. They do eventually.
Don't go your man offside. Don't go early.
Medeiros to Stevens. He'll trundle it down the middle. Medeiros again. They're 15 metres away with Johns. Jinking Johns. He gets them to within 5 metres now. Fittler fires the pass. Lockyer. Here's Barrett. And Deacon with an important tackle. Helped out by Fielden, who made the mistake. And it was on Carlaw. Barrett again. And Barrett running flat. Gets the ball out wide. Lyon. Connolly's got it back for Britain.
We play on. Didn't play the ball. Ball played the man. Not the best option, perhaps, from Jamie Lyon. But this has been a battle royal, hasn't it?
It has. And Britain so close, and Farrell makes another break. Pulled down by Carlaw.
Did well then in the second row of Carlaw to make sure that he decked him down. They were coming in numbers.
But they're making the breaks, Great Britain, which is encouraging.
And the surprising thing that the breaks are coming out wide on the fringes.
Oh, he dropped that.
Never played it.
He dropped that, did Fielden.
Yeah. Well, the mistakes really have been the difference between the two sides. Britain got off to a flying start when it was Blacklock who took the ball. Really a mistake, but they did put him in a touch, got the possession. And you saw a little shake of the head from a concerned David Wade. You take away those little errors, and we have the opportunity. Andy Farrell now a little bit of a natter.
I how to play, so don't tell me how to referee. Oh, you're kid. You are kid.
Well, the referee and Andy Farrell having a discussion about everything has gone their way, says Andy Farrell, and Bill Harrigan has a case.
Well, that will not help the cause. We've seen so often in the past that Andy Farrell sometimes loses his cool, and that's not played.
Never played properly, and that's a knock-on as well.
We've got a foot to it.
Exactly the same as over there, says Bill Harrigan.
Yeah.
Same over there.
And that's the reason why it was silly of Andy Farrell to take the referee to task.
Mind you, the referee is carrying on the discussion with Andy Farrell. He's just said to him, anything to say, Andy?
Yeah, well, concentrate, Andy. You're 10 points behind.
Exactly.
Win, lose, or draw, Harrigan will get exactly the same wage. And he knows he's going to get bagged in the press, in the media. It doesn't matter. They're used to it.
Both sides of the world.
Of course, but the problem is that we need leadership at this point in time.
Well, Andy will say that he is giving that by questioning the decision, I suppose.
Listen, there's a way to question. You don't argue with the official.
Deacon. Deacon to Peacock. Terrific Australian defence again. Johns and Jamie Lyon. A 10-point gap as we have 21 minutes remaining. Farrell goes wide to Connolly and wide to Senior. This is the danger man. Senior inside to Farrell. Stevens is hunting him, and Stevens and Cairns get the British captain to ground on halfway. Connolly. Deacon. Oh, not the best kick, not the best pass. What on earth? He's penalised Australia for tackling the man without the ball.
It took an eternity to drop on this football. I don't know what Fielden was thinking. He really should have put his body on the line.
Well, Badouris was all over the top of Fielden, and Fielden lucky to get away with that.
Certainly was. There's a few problems out there for the Australians. Quite a few of them look hurt and wounded.
Well, the way these British forwards are running, no wonder. It must be like trying to stop a double-decker bus at the moment. And Andy Farrell, look at that penalty count when you're taking a look at this video later. 4-1, the penalty count in Britain's favour. Sinfield. Scuffle. Connolly. Oh!
Don't force the pass.
Well, they're 10 adrift. They're in the last 20.
That's a long time in a game of rugby league football. Opportunities there. You could see the not really looking, didn't realise whether Paul Wellens was there. I know they've got to start thinking about catch-up football, but with only 10 points between them. And I hate to say it, I never thought the day had come, but I think some of these Australians are having to dig deep. They're looking a bit tired out there.
Yeah, they're blowing. There's no doubt about that. Well, we brought Sean McRae in midway through the first half and said it was a test match. Boy, isn't it a test match?
Great arm wrestle, Eddie, this game. We've seen Great Britain have a couple of chances early on and just denied by the video ref. You've got to say the Australians are just controlling the game fairly well. They'd like to get one more try. I think they feel they can get over the try line again. That's the Ashes to them. But I've got to say, with Great Britain, they've been absolutely outstanding so far, and they're still very much in this game. The only thing I'd be looking for now is to keep the ball alive. The difficulty we're having with the Great Britain side is a little bit of pressure, a little bit of fatigue is causing some mistakes, but they've got to keep working and they've got to keep the ball alive. They must attack at all options, and that's the only way they're going to win the ball game.
Another mistake here from Fielden. High challenge on Jason Stevens. Penalty to Australia, takes them over the halfway line.
Sheer frustration, but it gives Australia a wonderful position now, and with
Stevens again.
With the experienced players out there, especially Brad Fittler, he knows exactly what's needed. They'll run out the 6 and utilise the kick, apply the pressure, they'll turn it around. Either Johns or Fittler will be looking towards maybe a little dink into the in-goal area.
This is Robbie Kearns. Robbie Kearns of the Melbourne Storm, captain of the Storm in the NRL. Barrett. It goes to Fittler. Fittler ball on the inside to Kennedy. Well watched by Sinfield. Fittler again. There he is, directing traffic at the play the ball. He's found Barrett. He goes wide and finds Johns. Johns has flicked the ball back and lucky to get away with it to Badouris. But they really do support their men with the ball, and they support those mistakes, the Aussies. Johns with a dab towards the in-goal. Price is there, and Britain have it back. They must attack from deep.
It was inevitable that Johns was going to get there, got himself into a position. Could have been a flop.
It should have been.
That's three. Pull back here, fellas.
As I mentioned before, both sides, the pace of this game, it's taken its toll. Normally it's at this point where Great Britain do struggle. And I think Australia, they're really struggling as well.
Round the corner it goes. They were lucky to get away with that. That's the 5th and last. They're still inside their own 20-metre zone. The kick has to be good here. It's with the captain, and he hoiks it downfield. It'll bounce. No, it won't. Blacklock is underneath it. And the chase. Good ball from Blacklock to Lockyer. Fielden is there, and Fielden will wrestle him to the ground with a bit of help from Jamie Peacock.
He's had a huge game, hasn't he? Stuart Fielden, okay, he's come up with a few errors, but he has worked overtime. They all have. It's been a classic game.
Been a sensational game.
Full credit to both sides. They've had to dig deep. Skills are plenty on show, but the defensive qualities from both sides,
well, can Britain's defence just stand firm here? Kennedy, that was an important little ankle tap there from Farrell. Barrett. Dummy half, it goes wide to Johns. A dab down the line from McDougall. Hodgson, you have to be quick. Oh! Dear me!
That would have been a try.
Gidley chance to win the Ashes goes begging.
Hodgson opted to try to let the ball go out rather than take it out himself so that they would get head and feed. Talk about a teasing kick from Andrew Johns. It's superb. But look at that. That was play on. That was try time. TRY, and Gidley knows it. What a let-off.
A real let-off, and in such incidents, matches turn. 10 points the gap. Time starting to ebb away.
Well, that surely should have been the second try for Gidley. That would have brought a smile to my two young daughters out in Australia, Kaylee and Alyssa. They think is one of the glamour boys of rugby league.
Well, they will be watching Steve-O's daughters on Channel 9. They've just seen a big mistake from Terry O'Connor.
You let go of the ball. I slammed, you slammed, you let the ball go.
Bill Harrigan making quite clear to Terry O'Connor that you've got a responsibility to hang on to the football as well. And he's right. See, they were not attempting to go for the football. They were just slamming him to the ground. It's within the rules.
Incidentally, our colleagues at Sky Television in New Zealand also watching this test match live this evening. Barrett pass out wide to Gidley, looking to make amends for the mistake. Senior and Hodgson with the tackle. Here's McDougall. All hands to the pumps now for Great Britain.
Well, he's played his part, hasn't he? Adam McDougall.
Robbie Kearns now.
He has saved two absolute certain tries for Britain. When the Australians were wobbling somewhat, they were being caught out wide on their right side.
Badeiras to Fittler, and Fittler taking on the British defence on his own. O'Connor and Fieldham there, and Fittler, he's tackled, standing up on his feet. They're 3 metres away. Badeiras to Johns, little drop of the shoulder from Johns, great tackle from Mike Forshaw. Off the deck, Stevens, kick out wide, a tester for Hodgson, this. Palm back inside, they've scored Australia, and it's Barrett who scored. Trent Barrett has scored, and maybe, just maybe, has secured the Ashes for Australia yet again.
And it's that man, Andrew Johns, who has come up with yet another superb kick. I was singing the praises of Adam McDougall. Sadness on the British fans. Not on this fella, though. Trent Barrett, the up-and-coming superstar. Sorry, it wasn't Johns, I don't think, that had the kick. It was Stevens that kicked it. My apologies to the prop forward. He's come up with a classic. What a great kick, but look at McDougall. Superb effort there from the experienced winger. What a try, all brought about by that man, Adam McDougall. Well, he's been provider, and he has salvaged so often this Australian side in the second half.
He had a huge game from Adam McDougall, and a very, very important try from Trent Barrett, who was back to his best last week. And this kick from Andrew Johns, maybe to put this match out of the reach of the British heroes. He's missed this one, so 22-8.
I think it's a bridge too far, Eddie.
It might be now.
Yeah, there's not, and he knows it, does David Waite. He knows that the golden opportunities have been squandered somewhat.
A match of ifs, buts and maybes.
Well, there's no doubt about, in my mind, what a wonderful kick it turned out. That absolutely stunned me to think that that came from a prop forward. The control from Jason Stevens. Well, hasn't he had the last laugh? He had the first stamp. And he's come up with, well, more glory for using his feet on this occasion with a superb.
They got the short kick off, they palmed the ball back, but Andrew Johns was the man on the spot. Australia have it back on halfway. Badeiras, Fittler, Kearns, Anderson, Forshaw, O'Connor. Tackle is complete. It is now.
There was the effort. Just pops up out of nowhere, doesn't he, Andrew Johns?
Here's Stevens. Good ball to Blacklock. Good tackle by Joint. Badouris again. Barrett.
He's had a wow of a game, hasn't he, the standoff. Slowly but surely he came into the game in the second test when the game was well and truly won. Built on his confidence.
Fifth and last here for Australia.
He's had a wow of a night tonight as Trent Barrett.
Johns.
As his partner, the man who's kicked Johns.
Now this is a tester for Leon Price. Oh, they might have scored here. He might have scored here, and Asta.
I think they'll find that it came off the Australian. He wants to check just to be certain. And I think Price was beaten to the football. Yeah.
Get that, Dave?
Definitely came off Jamie Lyon. So the man who has become accustomed to poaching a try from the kick into the corner, this will be NOTRY. No doubt in my mind that Jamie Lyon has forced that ball forward.
Well, I won't argue with you this time.
No, they won't give this. Definitely came off.
Having a good look.
Oh, they came off the arms of Lyon, surely.
Well, they've all lined up for a 20-metre restart, so the players have made their mind up, but it's all down to David Campbell.
NOTRY.
You're right.
Over here.
Braithen Astor from Canterbury. His first test at Bolton last week. In this series, and the man they're calling the new Fittler, and he's been denied by the video referee. Wellens is trying to get the ball away in an impossible situation, but now Britain have to chase the match.
Yeah, especially with just 10 minutes remaining. Linking through. He's acquitted himself well, though, as he had all throughout this season, Paul Wellens. But they can feel pretty proud of themselves, Great Britain.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a shambles in that the effort in the second test, but boy, oh boy, this has been one of the better test matches I've seen for many a day.
Yes, a real test in every sense of the word. And Wellens with a good tackle on Barrett. It just could be, when you think about it, Farrell's conversion that hit the post and came out, and Connolly just inches away from the touchdown, and so near yet so far. Hey, it's not over yet. They've got 10 minutes to go.
Here we are. Holding here, hold. Now.
Here's Lockyer. Johns. Lockyer back on the inside. Ominous holes opening up for Great Britain here. They offload and they get the ball again. This is Robbie Kearns. He offloads to Stevens. And David Hodgson, well,
they'll play the first knock-on. Well, they had a golden opportunity, did the youngster, of course, when Keith Senior, who's had an outstanding second half, trying to get the ball out wide. And the Australians now, they're full of confidence. They're forcing the pass at 22-8. They know that it's an impossible situation for the British boys now. But at least they've shown the respect. They've played with a lot of pride. Both sides have.
Deacon to Wellens.
Let him up, right? Here we are, have a look.
Connolly. Anderson. Anderson, one of the Bradford Bulls, of course, who will be involved in our next appointment with you in the new year, February the 1st, the World Club Challenge. It's Bradford Bulls against the Newcastle Knights, McAlpine Stadium. It's Friday the 1st of February. It's on Sky Sports and it's a 7:30 start. And then we'll be back with you for Super League 7. And what a start we have. The repeat of the grand final, Friday, March the 1st at 7:30, also on Sky Sports. So we will be gone after this, but hopefully not forgotten. And we'll be back with you early in the new year. And let's hope that the Bulls can follow on from St Helens and give the British game a terrific start to the campaign, just as the Saints did last year.
Well, the guys can hold their heads up in this particular effort. It has been quite superb. But yet again, the skills and perhaps the fitness levels of Australia has paid its price. They really are superb world champions.
They are, and the new breed is almost mirrored there by Braithen Astor. Jason Stevens off the deck to Lockyer. They're playing with such confidence now. Oh, beautiful offload from Kearns. Lockyer is there. Man on his inside is Barrett. He's in for a second. Barrett's in under the sticks. The Ashes are on their way to Australia again. There is no doubt now. And Great Britain's brave effort has all come to nothing, and that is a huge disappointment for David Waite.
Superb
Trent
offload, though.
Barrett with the try.
Well, he's capped off a fine night. Good work amongst the forwards. None better than this. This is an outstanding offload there from the prop forward, Robbie Cairns. Lockyer, as he does so often, chimes in at the very last moment. And Barrett just adds icing onto a pretty solid cake, it has to be said.
The British fans heading for the exits. They know it's all over now. Fittler is going to take this conversion, change of kicker. And it's in his last test match. He hasn't kicked a goal for Australia yet, but he's going to enter the record books if he kicks this. He just about made it.
Yeah. Well, a big smile on the face of the Australian skipper. He's, well, slammed quite a lot of critics. A lot of people said that perhaps he wasn't up to it. He didn't have the best of seasons down under. But that man, Trent Barrett, and the combination of the experience of Brad Fittler certainly has been an outstanding feature on this situation. 2 tries from Barrett.
Stay behind,
He will certainly remember that. But it's been a good team effort from the green and gold.
It has, and it's been a good team effort from Great Britain, to be fair. But the thing that you have to admire about the Australians, they support the man, they support the mistake and the opportunity and the possibility of a loose ball as well.
Yeah, they snap it up. They're pretty quick and efficient, but this man's had a fine game too.
McDougall's been magnificent tonight.
I mean, the things that he did when it was Senior making the break, it looked like they were coming back on the inside. That was the incident where Paul Johnson got injured. But he just read it ever so well, and that shows you when you need the experience.
That's a great kick.
What a kick again.
A great kick, and, well, Price just managing to put Jamie Lyon off.
Well, the Australian kicking game has been very good indeed. Our game fell apart very early in the piece.
Green ball.
And that must have been a kick from Price, so going to be head and feet surely to the Australians, who may finish off with a flourish. It would be a shame because the scoreline will certainly not reflect the effort from both sides.
No, Blacklock looking for a try himself. He should have passed it out wide
there.
Just to crown McDougall's evening. Barrett. Well, Great Britain don't deserve to be on the end of a hiding, and it will look like a hiding if they get over for another try. This is Barrett. Hodgson did enough.
And they took the gamble, but Adam McDougall realises that he should have finished this game with a 4-pointer when Nathan Blacklock decided to go for glory on his own, and he knows it. I don't think he's too unimpressed about that pass either.
Now, if he'd have got a decent pass, Adam McDougall would have joined the elite band of Aussies to have scored in every test match in an Ashes series.
And this guy has failed to do that. Gary Connolly. It's amazing. So many tests, and he's yet to come up with his first British try. And even right to the end, this Australian defence is far too strong.
Well, he has given it all, David Waite. He was a kangaroo tourist in 1973 when the Ashes first left these shores. After the 1970 victory, this marvellous run of success that Australia have had since then began with David Waite as a kangaroo. And Hodgson's done well. He's got the ball away there from McDougall. Now, can Britain give us something to think about during the long winter months that lie ahead?
Well, as we've seen for 31 years in Test series, the Australians, they play right up to the final whistle. Even though it's a comfortable lead, they're still putting in the big hits, and they want to make sure that the celebrations will be absolutely superb. What a send-off, what a fine player, Brad Fittler. This is the end of his international career.
And Badura swooping on the mistake from Andy Farrell and Chris Joint. Well, 28-8 is respectable. Anything over 30 would be an insult to the British effort. That ball finds its way to touch.
Well, they're certainly trying for him, aren't they? McDougall to add to that list of scoring in every test.
Been a great game, though, Steve-O, to be fair, this.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
First was enjoyable, second was...
forgettable.
Yes, and this has been magnificent. Great test.
Seconds down.
Sounds like a song.
Yeah, just the scoreline that's gone the wrong way for Great Britain, but it's...
well, at least this week they've been singing from the same hymn sheet.
Yes. Got over the line a couple of times as well, Great Britain, but the gods weren't smiling. Big hoof downfield is by Sculthorpe. Blacklock's after it. Price is with him. Price gets the tackle in. Well, we have 35 seconds of this year of 2001 of rugby league to go on the field.
Well, there's been an interesting tussle, hasn't it, between the two number 2s, Blacklock and Leon Price. Both sides feeling that perhaps they were a little bit of a weak link. Plenty of work to do.
Plenty for Great Britain, though, to build on for the future. This is a fairly young side.
Oh, hey, look at this. Have a look.
Well, they were positive, and of course, no doubt the daggers will be out at David Wade for all 3 tests. Has avoided having a recognised hooker.
Well, that's not his fault. He only can play what he has dealt. And that's it. The Ashes go home with Brad Fittler and the 2001 Kangaroos. The Guinness Series ends 2-1 in Australia's favour. A familiar scoreline yet again. Trent Barrett with 2 tries has had a huge influence. Andy Farrell suffers defeat at the JJB Stadium for the first time in over a year. And it's the Ashes that will be heading south again with the green and golds of this 2001 Kangaroo Party. And Fittler goes out on a high as he planned. Andy Farrell will come back and try again, but the disappointment is there for all to see. Deacon played his part. The forwards for Great Britain were magnificent.
Little doubt about that. They worked overtime, and the Australian pack realised that too.
Bill Arthur is with the man of the moment, Brad Fittler.
Brad, you'd have wanted to end your international career with a tough game. I think you got it.
At half-time, all the boys all wrapped that how good a game it was, you know, and I think that first try after half-time hurt them, and they had a couple of disallowed, which were pretty close, so I think it was my night tonight. A few things went our way, and it's just been a pleasure. And, you know, the Great Britain were great this year. I thought they got a great side, and they had a lot of players out too, which, you know, didn't help.
Well, I mean, your international career goes back 10 years. Would this be one of the toughest test matches you've played in that time?
I think so. I think there's a lot of pressure on, especially after losing the first. And we knew we'd been there before, but it's always easy looking in hindsight. So we worked pretty hard, and you know we didn't give up a good time either. We really enjoyed ourselves and got out and had a beer with these young blokes, because it's a shame they didn't get the 7-week tour, but you get to see the whole of England.
Well, we've seen Trent Barrett score a couple of tries tonight. Are you confident you're leaving the Australian side in pretty good shape?
Mate, he more pushed me to lock. I didn't leave for him. He always pushed me to lock, so he's a great player, and he's only going to get better.
Now, that conversion was significant, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty close till then, and we noted that, so in case they scored 4 tries. So
significant for you, though, wasn't it?
They sent me first goal for Australia, so and I sculled it too. It just made it, so I was very happy.
But what does it mean to you to round off your career with an Ashes success like this?
There's a lot of emotions at the moment, and just very happy. Just looking forward to going back and having a quiet beer and really enjoying the moment.
Thanks very much, Brad.
Thank you.
Alongside is the man of the match, Trent Barrett. Trent, there you go. And what a game that was, all round.
Yeah, it was. You know, it was tight at the start. We didn't expect nothing less from them, and you know, it was a great game. They've certainly improved, and they're, you know, we've certainly got to turn up to beat them.
It was a proper test match, wasn't it? Had everything, disallowed tries, a couple of scraps.
Yeah, definitely. No, but full credit to our blokes. We're up against it. We lost the first one and copped a bit of flack, but along with a few injuries in the second one. So, you know, it's just great. I love coming over here and playing, and hopefully we'll be back here in a few more years.
When you think of all the will they, won't they talk before you came, you must be glad you came in the end.
Oh, definitely. You know, it was a bit hard for us. We were coming and then we weren't, and But certainly glad we came now. It's a great experience for us. We've got a lot of young blokes, got a very young side. It's great to send Brad Fittler out a winner.
Well done.
No worries. Can I just take it home? Everyone at home, Mum and Dad, Kylie, love yous. See yous when I get home. Thank you.
Won't be long and he'll be home. He's the man of the match. Trent Barrett, the man of the Guinness Test Series. Almost inevitably, I suppose, is Andrew Johns.